Good evening and welcome to the April 23rd meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to everyone that's here and those that are tuning in on cable or streaming on the computer. First item of business tonight is public hearing. Waterboro Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing at Waterboro Town Hall on April 23rd at 6 p.m. to hear comments regarding an ATV ordinance. And the proposed ordinance is here if anybody has not picked up a copy. This is public hearing number 3, I believe. So I would open it to public comment. And let me just qualify that by saying the last hearing that we had, I need somebody to...
Thank you, Bob.
The last hearing, we came back with an added paragraph, which is paragraph or section 7, which is this ordinance may be reviewed annually and amended as needed by the Board of Selectmen to address any issues with trail usage that arise. Such changes would follow existing town charter provisions for ordinance amendments. What that means is that we would go through, if there's an amendment, we would go through this public hearing process again, okay, with any changes to the ordinance. So that was added, and it's the only thing added since the last public hearing. And at that public hearing, there was some discussion. Ted, you brought some issues to light of. We talked about counting and through maybe some trail cameras or whatever. I would assume that between your organization and maybe the state, we could pick up enough equipment so that a year from today we'd know how many, what the traffic patterns were and how many and whatnot. Maybe somebody have to check it on a monthly basis, but so I'm making the assumption based on your discussions last time that that's something that the club's willing to do.
Yes, we have secured 2 cameras from the state that we'll be able to utilize. We're thinking to put one on each end of the road.
Yeah, appropriately camouflaged.
What's that?
Appropriately camouflaged.
Yeah, appropriately camouflaged. And then, not to say that those cameras might not be able to be moved to other locations, but Deering Ridge Road appears to be the contentious topic right now, so I think that would be the road of the target that we're looking at right now. So.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
So again, anything else that someone would like to bring up? Yep, good.
Has any thought been given to the security of these cameras?
So our cameras, we have special metal mounts that they're built around, and they're bracketed right into the tree with black bolts. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We haven't had any tampering issues, at least since I've been working for our office, so over 2 years.
All right. How about the wreckage keeping?
Yes, that would be up to the club, right?
Right, that's up to us in a sense, right?
To keep all the tapes and so forth?
Yeah.
It would be, but again, that's not to get convoluted here, but that's not part of the ordinance. It's something that we were willing to do to try and get a real good feeling out of this next coming year, but it isn't something that would be something that would continue. You know what I mean? So I guess I just want to make sure that it's not part of the ordinance written that cameras would be on those roads.
And the last thing I have is, have we checked in at all on the violation of privacy issues? If it captures, other people on there that might object to being videotaped and so forth. I mean, there's a lot of controversy everywhere with it. They have cameras and so forth that, you know, I just don't want the town to be wedged in, and I don't want to see the club wedged into some kind of suit because somebody, you know, got.
I can speak to that for you. Being in with the cable TV and whatnot, when you're out in public, you have a reasonable expectation that somebody might get your picture. So unless they're catching you doing something like sticking your finger up your nose, there's really nothing you can do about it. It's compromising situations that really can be sticky, but if you're in public these days, you have a reasonable expectation that somebody on one of a million smartphones is going to get your picture, and you don't have to get everybody to sign off on it. That's just not how it is now.
Well, you're gonna drive into the town hall parking lot and.
And just from past experiences that were these cameras, we don't directly put them on the road, because then cars would set them off and we're walking by, just put them right probably 15, 20 feet off the trailhead, on the trail itself. So anyone utilizing that trail to access the road, get their picture taken. And we honestly wouldn't even have to look at the photos. You could just load up the SD card to see how many files there are. Assume that's
Right.
you know, one rider. It's two or three riders.
Anything else, Gordon?
No, it was
Tim? Dwayne?
Ted's email sort of sparked.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I apologize, this is newer to me. I just want a little bit of clarity because I've read this 3 times and I'm trying to make sure I understand it correctly. So this ordinance effectively limits the use of ATVs to these 3 restricted areas on pavement. In my gray areas that I live on a private road, which is a public easement, people can drive through it. They shouldn't be driving on that.
We chose specifically not to, we don't have the authority to grant anybody permission to drive on a private road, right? Or even though there might be public access, if it's a discontinued or abandoned road or whatnot, the municipality can't say, yeah, you all can travel there. I think that, so we kept that specifically out of this. These are only town public ways that we today maintain and control within the community. That's why there's these three were identified by the club as 3 areas that they needed to complete or at least reconnect their access. Okay.
I'm great with that. I think that if we come up with a way that we all get along and we can do this, and I'm not anti-ATV at all. I just want to know if my neighbors should be blasting up and down the street in front of my house all day long. That's really why.
That would be your problem, I guess.
If he's a private landowner.
And the other
on a public way, on
They
the
get
streets of
18
public
acres.
access.
the other issue here is that I think, and we've had this, we've said this many times at different hearings. We will control the trailheads or the trail access roads on a public way here. If somebody else is out doing whatever on a different public way, that's what's in here, they are violating the law.
Okay, I'm just here for information is all.
I mean, it's happening everywhere today, okay, to a great extent.
Sure.
I don't know how one road to the next, whether that's more of a problem in certain sections of towns or not, all right? But they today are violating the state laws. This, in accordance with state law, we're allowed to designate, I guess it's a trail head, right? Or
Access
not a
road.
trailhead. So,
Trailhead to trailhead.
so that is what we're attempting to do.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would just like to add, LD 212 did pass last week. That was the law enforcement fund bill that would increase ATV registration. So that additional $12 will be going to a specific fund for IFW and Department of Parks for enforcement related
So
to this.
it passes, been signed by the governor, or?
It's passed House and Senate, and just waiting to be signed by Janet.
It starts January 1, if it's passed.
It was it was done as an emergency.
Emergency.
So it increases the fee by $12?
By $12, 33 to 45. And that was LD 212. And LD 1109 had another amendment done. So that's, they're putting it back burner again.
There's like 13 or 14 bills on ATVs in the hopper at this point. What's this gonna do to this ordinance? Is that gonna affect this ordinance? Because I read part of the bills, but no, I didn't get the whole copy of any of the bills. And it was in the-
Yep. I don't think it would affect the ordinance specifically, if anything, just that if LD 1109 passes, where you're referencing, yeah, you should have it edited here. So it just changed the ATV definition, and then the additional enforcement funds that we provided enforcement agencies.
So, is it just a clarification, is 1109 the
1109
bill
is-
that was allowing ATV, turning an ATV into a motorcycle, basically?
Yes, it was the redefining of the definition. So the 2, 3, 4-wheel vehicle under 2,000 pounds, under 65 inches.
So that's-
Could be registered
That's back
as a
in.
motorcycle. Well, I shouldn't say as a motorcycle, but motorcycles currently today are allowed to run in an on-the-road, off-road plate, right? So when they run on that plate, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles gets that excise tax, and those dollars goes into the road fund in a different fashion. the ATV division has kind of stressed that they didn't feel that it was a good idea to have the registration of ATVs be allowed as a motor vehicle. Major reasoning behind that is our funding comes from ATV registration. Well, if that ATV is not registered on the road as a motorcycle, that registration fees,
Excise.
that excise tax is not going to come back to the clubs. And currently under state law, an on-road, off-road motorcycle has the right, if they're registered on a road vehicle, they can ride on all of our trails without registering it as an ATV. So that was one of the major reasons that there was opposition behind the ATVs doing so or wanting it to fail. But at the same time, it's coming, right? I mean, the side-by-sides are getting more vehicle-like. ATVs are being used in other countries as vehicles. I would imagine that bill will come back again, but.
Okay. Anything else?
I've got one other thing. I'll say constant for lack of other terms. ATVs coming off the trails onto the roads, off the roads back to the trails. The edge of the roads being damaged, where's the financial responsibility come from to fix those?
So we have typically gone around and done all of the trailheads, not to say that some of them aren't worse than others, but that's part of our regular maintenance for the season. And that's part of our registration fee money that we get from the state of Maine. So that comes out of our $6,000 that we get to maintain our trail system throughout the year. So we go around and we build the gravel up along the edge of the road to make sure that it isn't a major drop off.
So
But
it's the aprons onto the road and off the road. Your concern is if the hot top gets eroded.
we would just need to be contacted. I mean, if there's, not to say that we wouldn't notice it, but if there was something that came up that the side of the road was starting to have an issue, identify, what the problem is. We can talk to Tyler and see what we can do for funding. Maybe we can pay for reclaim, I mean, who knows what the situation is. But typically on a lot of the places that we've had issues, we have used reclaim because it holds together and binds together better. And then the state actually had, when they did Old Alfred Road, they actually paved an apron into the pole line for us. So I don't know who paid for it, but there's an apron there now.
It was a whoops deal.
Probably needed a place to back their truck into.
Okay? Anything else from the board?
The thing with those aprons is, every year the state, across the state road, you're tearing it up on the roadway, so when they paved the Old Alfred Road, they put an apron on there, so we didn't have to go back to the shoulder every year.
Yeah, no, we, obviously, anybody who drives around the town realizes that any of your trail crossings are issues, right? The snowmobile clubs, when they utilize them in the wintertime, the pavement ends up with a little divot, right? Because of the picks going across the road. ATVs have a different issue. We pull up to the side of the road, you wait for vehicles to go, and then you get on the throttle and you leave. So we have more of an issue of a little bit of erosion right next to the side of the road or at road crossings, whereas the snowmobiles are doing, structural damage to the pavement, right? We might be doing structural damage to the edge of the road, but, if there are issues, we do have money available. The state does reimburse us for issues that do occur, so.
Good, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed. And we do have on our agenda later this evening for discuss the vote. So
I was under the understanding that this was going back to the townspeople. But when we put that on last year's town meeting ballot, that this was a questionnaire to whether the selectmen, the townspeople wanted the selectmen to go ahead and create an ordinance, and that would go back to the townspeople for the final vote. I don't, there was no vote for the selectmen to create and vote on this ATV ordinance by ourselves.
Well, you say that, but the way that the charter is worded, we would have the option to go back, but we certainly didn't discuss that at any of those public hearings back in that day. I mean, we had the public hearings, we said this is what it is, and it was an up or down vote. If the selectmen created an ordinance to do that. I think when you tie that together and you look at the charter, the Board of Selectmen has the right to vote on the ordinance and go forward with it. I'm not sure what going back to the townspeople.
I think the charter also says minor changes or small creations, but it doesn't, I guess it's a question to whether this is a major or minor change to anything here in town.
Well,
I was under the understanding that this was going back to the townspeople for the final vote.
I'm not sure that.
They haven't had a vote. They've had public hearings, but not a vote on it.
So,
I'm not sure that.
Let's humor Dwayne for a second.
Please.
I guess, to some extent, if we are going to go back to the public, I guess we got to rethink how this is done. The roads would need to be a separate issue, and I think that if it goes back to the public,
If it goes to the public, it's gonna go just as that's written.
so I don't think you can
And
do.
then-
I don't think that it's in the selectmen's best interest to do that. I think it's in the selectmen's best interest to deal with this ordinance approval, just like they do a liquor license or specialty type permits, right? So the Board of Selectmen would accept an ordinance, the way that the ordinance is written, with the rules and regulations stating how you are going to use the roads for ATV use. But then on a yearly basis, I would feel in everybody's circle that it would be much safer for us to come back on a year-to-year basis and get that approval from the Board of Selectmen. I also will say that if you go back to it might not be in your minutes, but there are some videos stating as we were heading up to that vote, if the vote went one way, if it wasn't close enough, or if it was on the close 50% number, that we were gonna go back to the public. If it was a substantial the other side, that the Board of Selectmen were gonna make that decision. Quite honestly, it doesn't matter to me which way it goes, but if it is going to be, this is the ordinance that gets approved, I think that you need to pull Article 7 out, and you do Article 7 as a yearly type of a thing that we come back and ask for.
Just have it like a separate schedule,
so
the
the
streets would be a
ordinance-
separate schedule.
Right, so the ordinance wouldn't get changed and voted on every year, it would just be
Which roads that you're
which
asking
roads
for.
are.
Well, Article 7 says may be reviewed annually. This does not call for an annual review.
No, but, and again, I thought that after last meeting that we had, it was pretty evident that we were going to do that every year, you know?
Well, I think it's our intent, I think the legalese here say that it may be reviewed on an annual basis.
Correct.
I think that's appropriate for the language in the ordinance, okay?
Natalie preferred to have not any of 7 saying you don't need it because the charter allows this board to do that anytime.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying, is once the townspeople approve this, then the selectmen have got the right to add or just take
I know.
away.
Well, the townspeople don't have to vote on that. I mean, you have the authority to do that by the charter.
I guess I would disagree that there was any discussion, I mean, not that we didn't have the discussion, but I think it was very clear that when we started this whole process, that this was gonna be a selectman-approved ordinance, and it's been, I mean, the last 3 public hearings, we've had it on the agenda to vote and approve. You know, because we had changes, we took it to another public hearing. But it shouldn't become, in my view, it shouldn't be a surprise that the selectmen intend to vote on it and not go back to the people to vote. And I don't know what the value of that vote is. The referendum was very clear then that you would approve it. However, it stated if there was an ordinance developed by the Board of Selectmen.
It was non-binding anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was non-binding anyway.
I think we deviate, if we do that, we deviate from our past practice, because we have been, as a board, creating under the purview of the charter, and have been enacting ordinances right along, as the authority of the board given to us by the charter. And to do this, I think it deviates from the norm.
Yeah, and this isn't just the most recent charter, this goes back 2 charters ago that we've had the authority. Because we haven't taken a zoning ordinance change to the people since 2007. So, I think that was the last time that we did that. Anyway, point is taken, Dwayne, but, you know, I guess it's on the agenda to accept or reject as a board. And a year from today, if we want to come back and say this didn't work or did work, then we have the right to do that as a board.
You would also have the right to change the wording of the ordinance.
Yeah.
Yep.
We bring it back for other public
Right.
hearings
We'd
at
have to
that
go
time.
through
yeah.
And that's what it says here in section 7 that was added, in accordance with the charter, the provisions in the charter.
You don't have to wait a year either.
Yeah, and do it 6 months from now, or,
Oh, yeah, something bad happens. So, I mean, it's just not working, but I don't see why we wouldn't, as long as you've got, people following the correct rules once it happens.
If unforeseen things develop, we can, as a board, say, okay, we want to look at this now
Right.
as a preemptive strike, so to speak, or preventive medicine or whatever, to correct that rather than let something fester.
yes.
And I'm sure the club is thinking along those lines too, because, you want to have a peaceful relationship with all members of the community.
Correct.
You don't want an adversarial role. This is a recreation endeavor, not a us against them, mentality.
So we will discuss it later this evening unless somebody wants to move to bring it up and vote on it now. If not, we'll talk about it when we get to old business. Okay?
I don't know how many people got other things that they need to do here. I'd make a motion to move it up on the agenda and take it under consideration for a vote at this time, so that those people that are here that have other things on their personal agenda tonight can, they're certainly welcome to stay, but they'll have the option of being able to, leave if they want.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second to bring it up now?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Ted. Any discussion on the motion? Nothing's gonna change in half, 3/4 of an hour. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, we'll bring it up, we'll talk about it now. So we're bringing 10A, discuss possible vote regarding the proposed ATV ordinance. So what is your pleasure, gentlemen?
Mr. Chairman, before we vote on this, is it safe to assume that you will not be voting on this?
I don't know why you would assume that.
I think there's an obvious conflict. Your son has represented this ordinance right from the beginning.
Okay, so let me suggest this. I don't see that I should recuse myself because of the relationship that I have with somebody that's in this organization. I don't recuse myself from setting the tax rate, and I have how many relatives in town that I could say, well, I'm going to recuse myself because there's a financial interest in other people. I just don't see.
I think it's a pretty obvious conflict of interest.
I think if we're going to do that, you would be excused from it too. You live on Darien Ridge Road.
But I also voted for the child.
Yeah, but you still.
But I mean, I don't have to be in favor or opposed to this.
I'm just suggesting that we're going to go that way.
I've had 6 or 7 phone calls from town residents feeling that you, Mr. Abbott, have a conflict of interest. And
I would respectfully refute that.
well, I'm just saying that I'm telling you at this point that some of the townspeople do feel that your son has a gain on this ordinance.
So I will put
Let
that,
me finish.
I think we should be
and
able to discuss this without
it's,
being interrupted by the audience.
It's a fine line to whether you do or don't have a conflict, but some of your family, immediate family, has something to gain by this ordinance. So in the state law, it definitely is a conflict of interest for you to vote tonight.
Okay.
That's the way I've read it.
I believe the state law says that the family member would financially gain from.
There's a pecuniary interest.
Right. I don't see there's a financial gain here.
There's more than just a financial gain. in that
Read the law.
I
The law is,
I did.
well, then
More than once.
you're not understanding it, because it's very specific that says that the conflict of interest, if a family member has a financial gain within the thing, that person should recuse himself. And I would do that. I don't see that this is any different than any other ordinance that we do. I mean, how many people have voted on planning board ordinances that affect family members? Is this any different than that? Is this different than you or Tim, when you're on the planning board, voting, and you might have had a relative that was affected by it, positively or negatively? Why is that not a conflict?
I think the way to resolve it would be to have the board vote on it. That's what Natalie always tells us. That way we're in the clear one way or the other.
Okay? if the,
Can I speak?
go ahead.
So I guess I just would like to clarify that there is no financial gain for me, Todd Abbott, being the president of the Osprey Mountain ATVers. I have been the president for the course of probably somewhere about 10 years. On that, in our state records, Brian Bronson at the Department of Conservation has records of how many hours that we have donated through the course of time. On a year-to-year basis, we donate, any one of us here, donate anywhere between 50 to 60 hours of our time. That is a donation. The funds that we get from the state of Maine go directly into materials and to rental of equipment and things like that. The only financial, there is no financial gain for any of us to be involved with the ATV club. The only thing that we get from being involved in the ATV club is we get to go talk to landowners, get landowner permission for everybody else who likes to be ATV people in the community. And then we get to enjoy those trails. More than not, most of us work on those trails, and very few of us actually ride on those trails. So I kind of take offense that there is public that feels that I do profit from the ATV club. There is zero profit given from that. My enjoyment comes from the ATV people that are out there in the world that enjoy using our trail system, enjoy the events that we put on throughout the seasons, and that's my feeling on that. As far as the reclusion, if you're going to ask somebody to be reclused from the vote, I think Roger brought up a very valid point. You as a selectman have done things as a select person that I think that would also put you into that same position. Sending letters out to all of your neighbors, and basically really having a very negative commentary towards this ATV ordinance. I think that we would, if you're going to recluse one, I think you have to recluse two.
I think what we want to avoid is the appearance of a conflict. And having a father vote on his son's ordinance
I would think
is
that
definitely the appearance.
And I would think that you fall into that same category, Tim.
We're not going to get into that debate, okay? I mean, I certainly don't feel, I mean, when we entered into the lease with the ATV club, the same players, officers, were involved. I voted on that. Nobody raised that issue that was a conflict. It was a 99-year lease. Can you get back into the same kind of issues with the snowmobile club? Did people recluse themselves because we granted a 99-year lease with the snowmobile club? I just don't. I don't feel that way.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I have the statute right here, and if you receive direct or indirect pecuniary interest, then it's a conflict of interest. Otherwise, it isn't. I mean, are you getting any monetary benefit out of this vote, either directly or indirectly?
Well, to my knowledge, I have the law up. It says direct or indirect.
Yep. Pecuniary interest.
Pecuniary interest. In the absence of actual fraud, official of a body of municipality, county government, quasi-municipal corporation involved in a question or in a negotiation of an award of a contract is deemed to have a direct or indirect pecuniary interest in a question or in a contract where the official is an officer, director, partner, associate, employee, or stockholder of a private corporation, business, or other economic entity to which the question relates or with which the municipal, county government, or quasi-municipal corporation contracts with, where the official is directly or indirectly the owner of at least 10% of stock, or private corporation owns at least 10% interest in it. When an official is deemed to have a direct or indirect pecuniary interest, the vote of the question of the contract is not voidable or actionable if the officer makes full disclosure of interest before any action is taken, and if the official abstains from voting from the negotiation or award of the contract from the otherwise attempting to influence a decision which that official has an interest. I have no interest in this. I have no financial beneficiary interest in it, nor does anyone in my direct family. Yes, sir.
So, again, to rest the financial issues, any money this club receives from the state isn't given outright, it's all through a reimbursement program. They have to pay out of the club's pocket initially for all trail work up to, say, $5,000, depending on the trail mileage. And once they submit their grant paperwork with that, every single receipt, recording of man hours, volunteer hours, and all equipment use is sent to us and then processed by our office. So it's all under record. So every single dollar this club spends and gets back is all on state record.
If I read this correctly, then I would have to have a financial interest, to put it in layman's word, or a benefit personally from this, or be affected by it. And I guess I would extend that, even though the words don't say that in the state law, that a member of my family, right? You wanted me to recluse myself because my brother sells ATVs? I mean, it's kind of the same extension here, right? I just don't, you know, I don't see that I have a, whatever. I mean, I just don't think that it's a conflict. So, if the board wants to vote on that, then it's fine. Yes, sir.
Joe Gunther. When this issue got brought up for the townspeople to vote on whether or not they wanted the selectmen to have the power to go ahead and create an ordinance involving ATV access routes. The public voted in favor for that. The public was behind the selectmen, and the public granted the selectmen. They said, yes, we want the selectmen to work on this. Hang on, Dwayne.
Yep.
Okay? So, try to go ahead and work on the ordinance as to it pertains to ATVs. I have been a resident in town as well, and I have heard allegations time in, time again, about whether this is Todd Abbott's ordinance. Well, Todd is only the president of the ATV club. He had some workings with it, but it's not his personal ordinance. Connections with Dennis Abbott. I've heard many times. Well, because it's Todd's Dennis's dad. You know, the only thing that Dennis ever did was brought a kid up in this town that was civic minded. That's all. Dwayne, where are your people that have called you? They're not here. They're not here. No, they don't have to be here, but you know, they're not here.
Listen, we're good.
I'd like to go back.
I think if your input.
I'd like to go back and
That vote that we had was a non-binding vote. But the townspeople, all they did was say, yes or no, we would like to have the selectmen.
Right. To work on this issue.
Work on it. It did not. And I know in a public hearing that we had before town meeting, that was going back to the townspeople for a vote. That was just to get this started.
Thanks, Joe.
I'd like to
Thank
say
you.
it again.
I'd like you all to grow
I'd
up.
like to have us resolve this without any more input from the public.
Okay, that's
But I
fine.
would like to say that I don't mean this as to impugn your character. I'm talking about the appearance of a conflict of interest, because in the past, I've always depended on you to do the right thing. When I was on the planning board, we had some real serious issues. And the only person that stood up for us was Dennis. So I'm not trying to put him down, but I've had the same thing where people have talked to me about how can he vote on his son's ordinance? And I just think there's the appearance of a conflict of interest. And I think one way to resolve that, one way or the other, would be for us to just vote on it.
This is a draft copy of everything that we're talking about here. I don't see Todd Abbott's name on this thing anywhere. This is the Town of Waterboro ATV ordinance. The names don't have anything to do with this. I understand the intent that you're talking about, Tim, but the thing is it's out in public now. This is being recorded. It's in the record. The state statute was written. I don't think we're out of line here. That's my personal opinion. But again, this thing here, this document does not say Todd Abbott's ATV ordinance. It doesn't say anything about Dennis Abbott's son, Todd Abbott's ATV ordinance. This is the Town of Waterboro. And based on what the charter says, we have the authority to vote yes or no on this, and I think that's what we need to do.
Okay. Gary did run out, this is the official tally and the official Article 4. It says, are you in favor of allowing ATV usage on certain town roads if controlled by a municipal ordinance? Okay? And I think when we first started talking about having this vote, we talked about if it was close, maybe we take the ordinance back to the townspeople, okay? But certainly after this vote and we started this process, and we've now come three different public hearings, it's been pretty clear to me, and I would hope the rest of the board, that the Board of Selectmen are going to vote on it. Now, the recusal thing, I don't personally feel that I should recuse myself. Recuse, okay? The board thinks that that's something that I should do, I'll live by the board's decision.
Well, it sounds like it will be a tied vote, so I think it's just a moot point. We're back where we started.
It wouldn't be a tie vote, because if that's the case, then I'm going to have to recuse myself because my wife's an Abbott and it's his cousin.
Oh, my.
Sorry.
I understand that certainly there are people that are going to say that there appears to be a conflict of interest. I would hope that when those questions come to any selectman, that they at least want to be heard out of why they do or don't believe that there's a conflict. And I'll go back to, you both served on a planning board. You both made decisions that may or may not affect family members, even yourself, your lands. So, there comes a point in time where, we're in a small town. There are times when you vote, and I mean, I voted on contracts where I had an uncle plowing roads. Your father voted on contracts that you plowed roads, okay?
No, sir, he did not. He always abstained. Anything that I was involved in, as far as the public works.
But he had a different reason for that.
Well,
Anyway, I just don't, I think it's a stretch to think that there's a conflict here, but if you guys decide that that's what you want me to do, then I'll back off.
I'm just reporting the phone calls that I got.
And I'm gonna say this, okay? I have been a selectman in this town for 27 years, right? 15, and now I've done 12. And if I probably will put in my papers to do another 3, okay? If the people vote to re-elect me. And I will tell you that I don't get phone calls. You think people are scared of me? I don't, because if I have a discussion with somebody, I at least define why things are the way that they are. Right, wrong, or indifferent. This is why the town runs this way. So all I can tell you is that if the 7 or 8 people have a problem with it, then they have an opportunity to come here. They can talk to you. If you want to feel that way, then I can't change that. All I'm telling you is I don't believe that there's a conflict here, and I'm sure that that'll never change anybody's mind, because that's the way the world runs these days, is everybody has an opinion. So, what is the pleasure of the board, one way or the other? We have a motion to accept this, and we'll vote, or
There was a motion made.
motion to bring it forward?
We brought it forward, this was no motion after that.
I make a motion that we vote on the Town of Waterboro ATV ordinance.
That we what?
To approve it?
To approve the Town of Waterboro ATV ordinance as written today.
And is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to say that, Waterboro is a bedroom community, and homeowners and the property taxes that they pay are the backbone of our economy. That's who we work for. And this ordinance will force dozens of taxpayers and their families to sacrifice the peace and quiet of living in the country at the best time of year in order to support someone else's hobby. And I think that's just biting the hand that feeds you.
Okay. Any other comments?
All I'm saying is I thought this was going back to the townspeople. I'm not in favor of these ATVs running through my hayfields, staving the daylights out of them, and costing me money every year, which it does every year.
Well, the ordinance isn't going to change that.
The ordinance is not going to change it, but barbed wire across the deering field will.
Yeah. Well, that's a choice that.
And I can fence that into cows.
Any other discussion? Sensing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
3-2.
Gordon didn't vote.
No, because I'm abstaining. I'm not getting involved in this. Well, he's related to so-and-so, and he's related to so-and-so, which I think is a bunch of crap.
That will be a no vote if you don't vote.
Well, then it's a no vote.
I just wanted
Okay.
to know.
So the motion, this is defeated. So there will be no ordinance at this point in time.
So do you go down as a no vote or an abstention?
No, it's an abstention, but if he says that qualifies as a no vote, then so be it.
Well, we need to know.
Well, I'll call the vote again.
Please.
Okay? All those in favor of passing this ordinance the way that has been presented and written, signify by raising your hand. All those opposed?
Abstain.
And so it's 2-2 and an abstention. So there is not sufficient votes to pass the ordinance. You want to make a motion to add it to this year's town meeting? A town referendum?
Can't do it in June.
It's got to be a unanimous vote. It's a non-money
It's
article.
a non-money article. We got 60 days.
Well, the warrant's been set. I guess you could have non-binding questions. You can get Christine.
While you do that, we're going to start to move through this agenda. Any announcements from the board?
No.
Any additions or deletions? I don't think Gary had anything. I don't. We have no appointments. public comment, anything that's not on the agenda that someone would like to express?
As the ATV Club president, being that the vote just went down, I would like to ask for 6 dates for the summer to be able to use Deering Ridge Road. I don't have those exact dates right this time, but we do have a number of rides scheduled for the summer. We did manage to get that for the last couple of years at our Fright Night ride. And looking that this is going to go south way, I'd like to ask for 5 dates when we can negotiate those dates.
Put that into a letter to us and then we'll act on it.
Okay.
We'll put it on the agenda.
Correct.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Can we add a referendum question to the warrant now?
On the copy? I'm supposed to have all the questions by the 12th of April, which has passed.
Okay.
But if you have a vote with the board, they have 60 days to change that. They can add a question if they want to, but they have to agree completely.
It's unanimous.
Unanimous.
So there has to be, we can add it if there's a unanimous vote of this board to take it to referendum on June 11th. You understand that?
I'll make a motion to add this to this year's warrant so that it'll be subject to vote in June, this coming June.
Okay, do I have a second for that?
I'll second that.
All right. So I'm not sure how the mechanism will work, whether it's a sub-warrant or part of the current warrant, if in fact we pass this, but.
The board will be allowed with a unanimous vote to add additional articles to the warrant up to 30 days prior to town meeting, in this case, June 11th.
Okay. So, any other discussion? And again, has to be unanimous. All those in favor of adding this as a referendum question? Opposed? Okay. Doesn't get added. So, it's a done deal until we bring it back to the board. But I would suggest if you have an interest in what you just started to explain, then put something together, give it to us, and we'll put it on the agenda. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Correspondence, we have the treasurer's report that's available, reports and staff initiatives, selectmen's reports. Anything, Dwayne?
A dozen phone calls.
Yep.
Well, nothing great. Few questions on the building that's being built out front, conflict of interest.
Such as?
Well, make sure you take a copy of the conflict of interest
Yeah.
law and give it to those people that are concerned.
Yeah.
Call me. Talk to me.
No, we need to let the building be built, that's all.
I can't know about these things unless you talk to me.
Well, I don't think it's a problem.
It looks like they're doing a great job to me.
But that doesn't mean you're not gonna get a phone call. So
That
what the
doesn't
hell
mean
we
I'm
do?
gonna get a phone call, so I'm
Right.
just telling you, I've had some phone calls.
Well, what's the apparent conflict of interest in the citizen's mind?
What he just,
No.
we just went through.
We
this.
just went through that, but,
No, I mean,
They-
with the new room.
No.
It's with the vote.
no, I've had several different,
One
problem.
subject was the new road.
Oh, sorry.
Second subject was what we've already discussed as a
Thank you.
conflict.
All right.
Anything, Tim?
Nothing for me, thanks.
Ted?
No, sir.
Gordon?
Well, as far as that new room goes, we have one or two choices. We could either build it because we have the funds available right now, or we could let the town's wreckage deteriorate because we don't have a fireproof, safe location to store them. So you gotta make up your mind. Do you want us as the leaders in the community to protect all the town's documents? Or should we just say no and just let them rot away? Or if there's a fire here, they're all burned.
I think
I think there's a-
we've made that decision.
I'd
Yeah.
say, I think the decision's been made.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to clear
No,
up some of
I
their skewed thinking.
I agree.
Could I just say something about that?
Yeah.
A lot of people have said, why don't you just put all this stuff in the cloud? Why do you even need a physical location then? If you look at some of the ransomwares, I mean, entire cities like Philadelphia have been held for ransom, all of their information held for ransom. And some of it's lost even when they pay the ransom. So this is, the solution is to actually have a safe place to keep your hard copies of all your old records and documents.
Yeah,
If that's the
and the
complaint.
second thing that goes along with that, if you take, before all of this stuff was electronically captured, it would cost you more than that building is costing you
To transfer it over.
to transfer it over.
So it would.
About twice.
Yeah.
That and there's certain state statutes regarding how long you have to keep physical documents and so forth, and when they can be disposed of and under what manner. And then you got the court issues that are involved. If they want a document for court and they can't get one, there's going to be the argument of the best evidence rule. I mean, I could get into rules of evidence and stuff like that, but there's a whole host of other things that come into play here. I think it's just prudent for a municipality to safeguard its documents as best they can against, fire and theft and.
And these are historic documents. I mean, they go back a century, some
Yeah.
of them.
Okay. Okay, back to you, Gary.
Thank you, Mr.
I lost
Chairman.
my spot here.
I will gloss over the elections information in my town administrator's report tonight. Essentially, if there are papers out, they need to be back here by 5 o'clock this Friday, April 26th. It appears we're going to have enough candidates to have a candidates night, and that will be Wednesday, May 8th at 6 p.m. here in Town Hall. Bob Powers will moderate the meeting, and I would hope that citizens come out and ask their questions directly. If they don't want to, they're welcome to pass them on to either myself or Sherry or Bob Powers. And remember, the election is here at Town Hall Tuesday, June 11th.
Okay.
Our water line extension to Central Station. Just as a refresher for those that might know, the paving schedule changed with DOT. The fall paving moved to May of 2019. We had to scurry around. If we were going to get public water to our Central Station, it had to be done next month. And we called 4 area contractors. We only got one price, unfortunately. That price was $57,000 from Foglio's. We are providing any sand, gravel, or crushed stone from our pit to save money. We are buying all the materials to save any contractor's markup. And there's one crew with one excavator and an operator and 2 other workers that will lay the pipe. Our public works staff with our little excavator and our other equipment will do all the backfilling. We pay for the flaggers. And the coordination with school maintenance staff and transportation staff has already happened. They know they're going to need to not be active there for that 15 or 20 minute period in the morning and the afternoon. And the target is next Wednesday now for this job to begin. And 4 to 5 working days.
One question.
Yes.
And we have some level of agreement with Waterboro Board of Trustees?
The water district?
Water District?
Yes. Yeah, we've already had to write them a check, so.
Can we get electronic sign on both ends of it somewhere there so that a lot of that Route 5 traffic can go down the old Alfred Road or the Lake Arrowhead go across
We can probably get those 2 that we borrowed before.
Weber Road so that we haven't got the amount of traffic that
Yep.
can be held up here?
That's a good suggestion.
Because once you get to Center Station, you're only gonna have 15, 20 cars before it's backed up into that light. And it's gonna be a major, when they get ready to cross Route 5 up there in front of the station, it's gonna be, and at the same time, the state's gonna have an excavator down in front of the diner, blast from the past. So you're gonna have 2 traffic balled up, and they're headed the first week in May.
Okay.
Gary, you made a comment about 15-minute time period. What was that for?
When the real crunch with the parents dropping off little Joni exists.
That's from 8:30 in the morning until 9:15 every morning.
Well, not that congested. I mean, it's, the worst of it is much more compact.
But the buses start rolling through there at 8:30.
Yep. Well, again, David's met with Matt from maintenance and Matt, they're both Matts, I get,
Yep.
from transportation, right? So, I mean, I'm letting others work that out. Whatever that time frame has to be,
Yeah.
that's on them.
I would recheck with Matt Kearns regarding the bus schedule, because the buses do start rolling through there at 8:30 in the morning.
And I would call them over there also.
Has the school sent anything out with the students, home to the parents?
They said they were gonna do all that.
I'd like to see a copy of that.
The other culvert deal is probably a 2 or 3 day job, but that will be 6 to 6.
Is that the one?
Down in
Down
front
the
of the
brook.
black on the path.
There's two
Well, I
of
see
them, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah,
there
I see
is.
they've already dumped culverts
Yeah.
off.
The excavator is supposed to be delivered the first week in May.
All right. Anything else, Gary?
Quickly, the records room out back here, we've had to take down some diseased trees, done some other work around the building here, including anticipating a new fence for the garden, community gardens later this spring or summer, gravel parking lot out behind the pantry. We need some survey work first to establish our boundaries out there. And some good news, the RSU 57 school budget went down from the previous estimate, $105,000 less on the Waterboro portion. And that budget will be presented to a 6-down selectmen's meeting this coming Monday, the 29th, 6 o'clock at the Waterboro Middle School Library. The meeting is actually targeted for selectmen from all 6 towns, but like any other meeting, it is open to the public, and the public can certainly go and listen. That's it from me, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's jump to new business here, and Glenn has come in to discuss and possible vote to set a public hearing concerning the proposed amendments to Shoreland Zoning Ordinance. I believe the planning board has passed this off to us, correct?
Yeah,
Right.
the planning board didn't have a public hearing because they decided it was just more housekeeping than anything, so. They did vote to move it to the board of selectmen. Basically, the move was done by a couple members to incorporate our section 2.07 into the shoreline ordinance. 2.07 in the Waterboro ordinance allows a code enforcement office to issue setbacks that follow the criteria of 2.07. 2.07 has math equations that are applied to average depth of the lot and average frontage. So you incorporate all that and it reduces the required setbacks. It doesn't work for everybody, but it does work. So that language was moved to the shoreline ordinance. Natalie has reviewed it and approved the words. In front of you is what's been struck and what's been underlined. I have to quickly say that thanks to Bob Liebman, who is a member of our Zoning Board of Appeals, found a mistake. The VR district, which is Lake Arrowhead, has an established setback from the front property line at 40 feet. And what I propose would make them have a 75-foot setback, so obviously we can't do that. So in the AR district, which is around Osby Lake, is 75 feet. Lake Arrowhead is 40 feet. So I propose to add a sentence into section E that would state that the VR district will maintain a 40-foot setback. So long story short, my proposal here tonight is not complete. It has to be corrected again.
So the VR district only affects those properties in Lake Arrowhead.
That's
right?
correct. And they already have an established setback of 40 feet. So we need to maintain that.
Only Lake Arrowhead.
Right.
It does not include Eastern Shores and a couple other lots that are not involved with that 50 or 60 acre
In the
lot that's
development.
on the left-hand side up there is not included.
So if
in
they're
that.
outside of the Lake
outside of the
Arrowhead subdivision,
subdivision, yes. Yeah.
then they would have to comply with the 75.
That's correct. So I can make that simple change. It doesn't have to go back to Natalie. It's going to take a simple sentence, and I can make that correction.
Does that have to go back to public hearing because you're changing it?
No, we
haven't
have
had
to
a
have a
public
public,
We
public
haven't had a
one
public
anyway.
hearing on it.
so as long as he changes it before we have the public hearing, then we'll have the latest language.
Right.
Did you say 45 in the VA?
No, 40.
40.
Yeah. So it would be a simple sentence, and I obviously intend to do that. You want to see it corrected, well, so you want to see a corrected copy of it before public hearing, or just have it at the public hearing?
I think as long as we have it and it's in the packet, it's gonna be in our packet on
Right.
Friday, so
Yep.
I think our role here tonight is to set the public hearing.
Right, this is a 5 Tuesday month, so you got 3 weeks to the next meeting, which is even better.
Yep.
So it'll be the 14th.
Right.
Anything else that we need to know, Glenn, before we head off with a public hearing? That's our,
I don't think so. Shoreland ordinance is always contentious in the town, well, it is in every town, not just the town of Waterboro. The only kickback you might get is that people from away are gonna say, you guys are always voting on this in the winter months. You know, we're never around, but it doesn't really impact that argument in my mind.
Well, realistically,
Yeah.
this is May 14th, that we're gonna have a public hearing on it. So
Well, that's
we're
true.
not voting, I mean,
That's
most
true.
everybody, I mean,
A lot of
we
them
can,
will
we
be
can
back.
put that off.
yeah, we don't have to have it
We
the
can have
14th.
that hearing in June.
This is a big benefit for people who live in
It's-
Shoreland. That's
it's
the
huge.
whole idea.
It's a whole idea.
Because without this, they have to go to the ZBA, they have to show a hardship.
Oh, yeah, Bob is here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what this does is puts us in line with the setbacks in the rest of the town where people can get within 10 feet of their sideline.
So does it make sense to wait until June to have the public hearing?
I don't think it's a contentious issue. I think it's nothing but a benefit, but that's just me.
I'd like to say something. Year and a half ago, I went to a planning board meeting where they were reviewing all the different zones, and they eliminated a couple of sections that they didn't get on. One was the setbacks and shoreline, because they weren't working on those. During those meetings, at that time, that ordinance was 2.08. And in that ordinance, it said that it excluded shoreland zoning. And that was removed during that process. So, in my opinion, the public has already voted on this, because they voted to remove that statement that said that the shoreland zoning wasn't included in that. So, if you go back and look at what 2.08 was before the zoning changes, I mean, the public already went to that hearing, they already voted on that. And under that assumption, we also assumed that we had the standard setbacks. But where shoreline zone is a standalone zone, this is, again, Glenn said, it's kind of a house cleaning effort to clean up that paperwork, so nobody can come back and say it's not in the ordinance, because we have had that issue. So this is just making it clear. So it's more a housekeeping. I think the public has already voted on this, because they voted to take out the exemption.
Where was this vote taking place?
No, we voted. It didn't go to a public
Yes,
vote.
it did.
The board voted to change 708, correct?
208.
Well,
Not 208.
207, yeah. Lee J was hitting that. But yeah, I don't think it went to
The
public.
whole zoning ordinance went to public, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And that was
Initially,
part of
right,
that
you're right,
zoning
you're right.
change,
You're right.
to remove that. So yes, it did go to public. So I'm saying I don't believe that you need to go bring that back to another public hearing. I think that's just another delay on us getting it to DEP and getting it in there, because as a member of ZBA, right now, if somebody comes in, there are no setbacks in that standalone zone.
They're in trouble. They're not going to cover.
So from your view, the sooner the better.
The sooner the better. And it's already been voted on because you already went to public hearing on the zoning changes back.
2.08 was voted on, right?
It went from 2.08. When the new zoning, it became 2.07.
Right.
Variances.
Yeah, DEP policy won't, DEP has to review this, but they
So
won't.
the
review it.
question would be,
Most of our summer residents are here by the 15th or the middle of May, so.
yeah, so there's no reason that we
No,
can't
yeah.
run a public hearing then. The question is, I guess, Bob's point is, does this have to go through public hearing? Planning board evidently chose that they didn't run a public hearing, correct?
Correct.
So that would be the question, I guess I
It's
would,
up to the selectmen to vote on it,
right.
I guess.
If you're gonna change an ordinance, you're supposed to have.
Well, I would think that we would, because we're gonna now fold some of this into the shoreland zone, right? So
Yeah,
there
it's
are
not
gonna be.
just section 2.07.
Right, so those words are gonna change with this, so that piece of it, we should have a public hearing. I would
say,
I would think.
so.
This is a formality.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if I was selectman,
Well, as contentious as this is, I think it ought to go back and let the public vote on it. I think we ought to bring this.
It's not contentious. It actually benefits the public.
Yeah, but not, see, what we're doing now is we're cherry picking which ordinances this board is gonna approve and which ones they're not gonna approve.
But I think you already approved it and then it went to public hearing when they changed the zoning originally. Because it was, the exemption was already taken out in that last vote.
So there's a benefit from a ZBA perspective, the sooner the better,
Correct.
right?
Well, Dennis, he's not here representing the ZBA.
Oh, I understand,
No,
but
No, I'm
but I at
representing
least take
myself and other people.
take his opinion of, hey, if somebody came tomorrow,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
the sooner the better. But, so, if the 14th works, and we're satisfied that some people are here, then let's have the public hearing the 14th.
Okay.
If everybody's okay with it.
The thrust of this, correct me if I'm wrong, was to have concise setback information in the shoreline zoning, so the public, the reader of the ordinance, didn't have to go back to the zoning ordinance to find setback information in shoreline zone.
That's absolutely correct. So it solves two things, a setback, it puts setbacks in the shoreline ordinance, and it puts 2.07 in the shoreline ordinance.
This discussion right now is a lot more complicated than it needs to be because we're simplifying setback information in the shoreline ordinance that was never there.
That's true.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very true.
And that's all we're gonna have the public hearing on.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's do it on the 14th of May.
Do it the 14th.
Okay.
I'll make that a motion.
Moved by Selectman Woodson, seconded by Tim, that we have the public hearing on the 14th.
So that public hearing, more than likely the board would vote on it?
I would assume that we would that night. Unless during the public hearing, there's recommended language change.
Once-
Can't imagine that.
Once the board.
Usually other than like this ATV thing where we get, half the club coming, we might see one or two people at a normal public hearing, right? So,
Again, the DP needs to approve this, and they won't even look at it until the board votes on it. And they have 45 days to respond.
The agenda item that night would read for the business portion, discussion/possible vote on this ordinance change.
Okay.
So they could certainly have the
and then
vote that night.
that would give the approval to the DEP.
To be sent on the 15th.
That would start the clock, right?
Right.
On, as soon as we vote on it, it
On the
starts the
15th, it can
DEP.
be sent to
That's
DEP.
correct.
Right. Or the 16th, right?
Is that it on shoreline?
Huh?
Is that it? on
That's
this?
it.
Okay, one more thing on the room, the records room.
Yes.
That should be done by probably the second week of May. And then the process would be moving all the records from Tammy's office, from the filing cabinets in Tammy's office to new filing cabinets in the room.
That are fireproof?
They are not.
The room is fireproof.
The room is fireproof.
Right.
That's it. I'm excited. It took
That-
us 3 years to get here.
The comment, or the phone call that I got was on the sprinkler system. And how are we gonna sprinkler put a sprinkler system in to keep the room from burning. If,
Obviously, it doesn't require a sprinkler system, you know, the buildings are connected, and I don't know the story from way back. You know, they didn't connect the buildings because a fire sprinkler would be required.
An elevator would have been required in the old section.
Okay, but
That's
buil-
ADA.
Yeah, because the building is connected by foundation, no less.
Not technically, though, that,
Technically, yes.
yeah.
well, at the time,
Well,
they got
this
away
was
with
the
it.
other question when they first got started, was a fella called me and wanted to know how they was ever gonna tie those two foundations together. He said, let them start and do it first,
Yeah,
and then watch it. I've been down there watching, so
you're doing a good job.
I'm sure somebody's watching
Oh, yeah.
what's going on, but,
Thank
Well,
you,
they're-
gentlemen.
They're pinned together,
yeah. I
They
know
are.
that.
so.
Yep, they are.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You just need to get that sentence in there
Yeah,
before the vote.
he's gonna add this.
So that will be done tomorrow, actually. You guys want to copy that ahead of anything?
As long as it's in the packet, that Friday.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon.
All right, discuss on what boards and committees should receive stipends in the new year.
Vote on that last motion.
Excuse me?
We had a first and
Oh,
a
I'm
second.
sorry.
I got a first.
Was moved and seconded. All those in favor of the 14th? Thank you. Thank you for keeping me
Are you
straight.
against?
Of the 14th, I'm having it, the
Public hearing on the 14th. You up for that? 5-0.
All right. 9B, discuss on the boards and committees should receive stipends. It's assuming that that gets approved on the 11th of June.
My thought is, any committee that meets 4 to 6 times a year. Your ZBA only meets on an occasion, planning board meets
Twice a
maybe
month.
twice a month, which averages 10 months.
So you're gonna have stipends for the garden committee.
It's,
By that
no,
criteria.
no, because that,
They meet that often.
for cemetery.
well,
What committees are defined in this?
that garden committee is not the town of Waterboro is not benefiting from the garden committee.
Let me run this,
I'm
let
glad
me
I
run
didn't
this
say
by you. Per the charter. Charter says, as a minimum, the following boards shall be appointed. The budget committee,
Yep.
stipend,
That one, yep.
Definitely.
planning board already
Yep,
has a
it
stipend.
already has a stipend,
Road review committee,
yep, that should have a stipend.
if they
If they
meet the requirement.
Yep,
ZBA,
yep, they get a stipend,
transfer station recycling committee,
absolutely,
okay? Conservation commission,
which we don't have.
Don't have one, but
yes. I mean,
assessing-
if
assessing-
they're meeting 4 meetings a year, or 6
assessing
meetings.
board of review, haven't met in 3 years.
No,
Fair hearing committee, same thing,
yeah,
okay? Okay, then any that we would add, but those are the ones defined in this charter.
right,
So I would think that we would,
at least start there.
right,
If you only use that list and you go to that criteria, then you're avoiding some problems.
Yep.
Right.
I think I would go with
I
that.
agree.
Right. And I don't, if you're gonna go with just that list to start with, we can add to it, we can change the charter, add
Well, we have
Town
we have the right
committees.
to appoint any other
point
boards.
any
but
other, yes. But at this point,
it's a
we
start.
ain't gotta worry about the 4 or 6 meetings a year.
It's a starting point anyway. So do you want to put that in the form of a motion? Those committees identified in the charter? Because that's the ones that I just read.
As long as they, yes, I will, the list, and as long as they meet at a minimum of 2 meetings a year.
2?
Yep.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion on that?
We're gonna set a dollar amount for those
The
stipends?
well, it would be, I assume, similar to what's in the
The
planning board
or the
today.
ZBA gets, which is
25 a meeting.
25.
Okay.
That's the money that was in, what's in that budget article.
There's $6,000 in that money article.
So that's gotta pass first. If it doesn't pass, then this is moot point, but,
Calendar year.
Calendar year.
okay?
July to June.
That's not calendar
Fi-
year.
fiscal year. Fiscal year.
Fiscal year?
The
Well,
municipal,
It's gotta be because.
municipal fiscal year,
Fiscal year.
Because of the
Fiscal.
budget.
Of your budget.
not a physical, fiscal.
Fiscal.
year.
Thank you.
It's gotta go from July 1st to June 30th.
There was a song, don't
Fiscal
get
year.
physical.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you
because
very much.
that's how you budget in your money, and then you're gonna be,
Right.
So, may I interject with Julie for just a second? We're gonna have to keep track of who's meeting and when, and then when they meet that second time, then we start paying them, I guess. We'll have to create some type of a spreadsheet here that, some of these committees are gonna get it automatically, they meet frequently. A few of the others will take a little bit of record keeping.
Any other discussion?
Quarterly.
I'm gonna-
or every 6 months, I don't care. I mean, it's,
Hey, that's what we're doing now.
and every committee's got a secretary. So the secretary's gonna report to Julie. Or you, to,
To me.
Okay.
Your planning board, your zoning board, and anything that comes out of that office, I get it.
Yeah,
It
you-
goes to Sherry, then it comes to me.
and then.
You really don't
You
have a
get-
secretary for the budget committee, but you do. You know who attends those
Well,
meetings.
we're both there, so it's not
And
an issue.
We live there too.
Nancy Robridge is the road
Review.
road review and
Transfer station.
transfer station, so,
And she gets paid by the hour.
right.
Right.
And she's gonna turn a report in to how many members are
Okay.
there.
She's also a member.
Yeah, well, she would get paid by the hour.
Ugh.
I don't think you do it twice.
Double dipper. That's not for this vote.
Okay. So, everybody clear we're voting on?
So you got
Those-
6 committees, right?
Those committees that are in the charter, called out in the charter,
8
okay?
Okay, I'm missing
A minimum of 2 times a month,
year.
2
2 times a year.
25 bucks a year.
Right.
Fiscal
And
year
the standard
based.
stipend, right? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed?
5-0.
Motion carries. All right, review and sign the RSU 57 warrant and notice of elections. So, even though I question why we have to do that, there's like 6 or 7 in here to sign. So, if someone would move to
So
allow
moved
us
to
to
sign
sign
that.
that,
So move to sign the.
and do I have a second to that?
Second?
Since there's no discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Discuss a vote to set a public hearing for the 1920 budget and warrant articles. So, why wouldn't we do that starting the 14th?
I would think so, because absentee voting starts the day before.
Right. So absentee voting starts the 13th.
Right.
What's that, a month? Well, it's 11th, right?
The way the weekend works,
Yeah.
it's a little less than that.
Dennis, should you have a public hearing before the absentee ballots start?
Well, in essence,
No?
it's almost the same day. It's a,
Okay. They're mailed out, so I'm just asking.
yeah, they don't, you can't mail them out before the 13th.
Okay,
Right.
right, thank you.
So, okay, and then we'll have a follow-up on the 28th, I would presume, right?
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't think we, somebody wants to move that we have public hearings on those
14th
dates.
and the 28th.
So, been moved, do I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor? Opposed, thank you.
All up here.
All right, 10A is done, 10B, continued discussion and possible vote to appoint members of the Rotary entrance. Have we got any feedback?
I have not heard back from Nancy.
Okay.
Have you, Sherry?
We're still kind of waiting on her, right? All right. Initial discussions concerning the June 11th election parking and access to the polling place.
Get that ready to roll, David? picture. While he's getting that spooled up, the election that we had before, that had the handicap parking on the recreation end of the building, I don't think it worked well at all. So I wanted to talk with you folks about whether or not to have all the handicap parking on this end of the building. And one day I paced it off in just rough estimates. And from the middle of the 4 spaces out in the parking lot here, where'd the magic thing go? Which is right about there. And you come in through Town Hall and you go to the table, which is in the frontage room right about there, it's 64 paces. And I didn't believe it, but I went to the middle of these spaces, I walked down the ramp, up and through, and over and through that dog leg and went to there, and it was the same. So the challenge really here, I think we could do fine, and depending on the election, we could have either 4, 6, or 8 handicap spaces here. It's a nice flat entrance here. The problem is, by the way the Secretary of State mandates, they're supposed to go out another entrance here, another door. They can scoot out the side door and come onto the walkway and go to their car over here or over here. But the handicap folks would be using, potentially using the ramp, having to come out and then come all the way around the building. And there really isn't a way around that unless we send them back through the line, and we're not supposed to do that. My suggestion is to have this overflow parking signage down here and just say that, overflow parking there, and then handicap and voter parking signage would be up here. For this June, we're not going to have the extra parking out behind the pantry. We should have that ready for this fall, but it might not need it this fall, but we certainly will need it fall of 2020.
Need it next June.
Yes.
Primary next June.
Yes. So I wanted your initial thoughts on all handicap and regular parking here coming through and all voters coming through in what I just described, and this being overflow. We'll still have somebody down here to monitor that. We know we have to do that, especially in the after hours voting period.
All right, so you're saying that where it says voter entrance, up the top of the middle, right there.
Yep.
Handicapped people are going to come in the building from there, go through the building to where it says vote here,
Right.
Yes.
and then they're going to go out the Funergy end
Yes.
and back around?
Down that ramp.
They're not supposed to go out past the people that are waiting there to vote. That's what we're supposed to do. I mean, last year, as you know, Ted, they came in the recreation side, they crossed the voter lines, and we did it, and then they went back out the recreation side. Nobody's going to take us to court over that, but we're not supposed to do that.
So what if you're not gonna have lines this June, right?
I would agree.
So I don't see why you wouldn't take the handicap folks and do one of two things. If the voting line coming in is in the hallway out back here, then you bring the handicap folks through this room and back out through to the parking lot.
We brought all the voters through this room.
Okay.
We
So then
shut
you
that
take-
hallway off.
So then take the handicap voters down the hallway, right? That way they're not mingling with these folks, right?
Not more
So you think
than
they're
20
just going to
feet or so.
bypass people that may be standing out there?
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna bring them through here and exit them right there.
I'd take them right back. The only question you got is, what, the length of that
Yeah.
canvas room? I don't think,
I know I'll get pushback on that from Christine, but that's not a bad idea. Especially somebody in a wheelchair.
right.
With
The
real
other-
mobility issues.
The other thing with the traffic, if we can get it done, bring them all in here, you got 2 lanes here, but use that just for an entrance. And gravel this right here, and get back out, bring your traffic right through here. Get that one way out.
We can use that shared entrance there. That's what
Yeah,
we're gonna do.
well, I'm looking at a boundary line, and it's probably right here. so-
that entrance is on our lane. is on-
Okay.
That's in our 50-foot lane.
Okay, there's the 50 foot
So-
right there,
so
so let's
bring 'em back
gravel
out that
this. Let's gravel this, and we can put some type of a barrier so that they can't use it year round, but for heavy traffic, let's exit that traffic all out.
So the
You're
traffic
gonna have a
flows
little
one
bit
way.
of traffic balled up right here when they come out, but you've got 4 lanes of vehicles, so they can stop while that traffic's coming in if you need to. And that traffic, you'll have 7 or 8 vehicles right there that's coming out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7 that you can hold up while this traffic here, if it's balled up during the rush hour, can get in. And your overflow is all in this parking lot, and they're gonna walk down and come in.
Yep.
You don't need that traffic of handicap or other voters going through that building, because last year your biggest complaint was they got over here coming into the building and then had to go over here to get to the voting thing. So eliminate this, and if somebody handicapped needs to get back out here, you can get them out, but
I left one thing out, and I was going to close and lock the door on the recreation side. So all voters in the recreation side parking lot would have to walk to this end.
Yeah,
of the
you
building.
can't let a flow of people go into
go
that
in that
recreation
back
side.
door, yeah. So, we're talking,
What are you gonna do if you have a medical emergency or there's some type of emergency within the structure? How are they gonna get out? Which, I'm not in favor of locked doors.
you're gonna be able to open those
No,
doors.
that's just for ingress, not for egress.
You're gonna be able to
The
open
crash
the doors
doors,
from the
right?
inside.
They're all crash bars, so something happens inside, they can get out.
You got a janitor that's, or a
Dave?
maintenance man on duty, and you've got, somebody running your voting that can have a key to those doors so that they can be opened and,
That was just for people coming in from the parking lot. We would not allow people to walk in that end of the building.
Right.
Understand.
Into it.
yeah.
Dave, you had something?
Yeah, they make portable ramps that fold out, that could actually go out that front door for handicap. That might be another option where you'd have them still closer to the
We should
side.
have a ramp, a permanent ramp there.
Probably should.
Have you seen one
There
around?
was
Oh, yeah.
always,
Oh, yeah.
the ramp was on the front of the building.
Have you seen one? You rent them?
I probably know where
You
there
probably
is
buy 'em.
one.
You can rent them or buy them. I think you can rent them. I know
You
you
can't
can
come
buy
up
'em.
and go down to the sidewalk. It's got to be the right slope. It's got to go up and zigzag.
Yep. Nope, they make
From-
all sorts of lengths.
If you,
From the
if you
side.
run that from that building back out to,
Right there. It just keeps
run that back out,
To the sidewalk.
this way.
yeah,
Yeah,
right
you
to the
could do that.
sidewalk, to the side of the sidewalk and just hot top it in front of your new building.
That's not ADA legal. No way.
Why?
Slope. No, right here, Dwayne.
Yeah, but you don't need anything in
Because
the,
of the pitch.
That right
Well,
there.
that's just one option. I mean, there's a million types. They have rails and everything else.
You got 1 inch vertical for 12 inches
I
horizontal.
may know where this 80 feet of that.
All I can tell you is, right now, you're gonna get 6 different opinions of how we should do
Right.
this.
Yeah, yeah. But
Between
I
you
would
and
say
Christine.
gravel that driveway to that hot top, or,
Have one way in,
and
one
we
way
can
out.
put a gate out there so that we can close it off so that they can't get in there and start spinning.
So I'm not hearing any objections to the concept. We know we cannot use that field. If it's raining, forget it. I mean, we had to dump that in the middle of the day, so let's just
All
not
right,
do
so
that.
if you're gonna put overflow parking where that says handicap parking,
Yep.
then you're gonna need some kind of sandwich board sign that says vote entrance and pointing down the other end of the
Right.
building.
There will be clear signage here that says all voters walking right down this path.
All right, and then where the great big arrow going into the parking lot is, you're gonna need signs there saying entrance only, and you're gonna, and it's somewhere in there, you're gonna have to have where, whatever that silver, what's that silver bullet that used to be sitting up there?
Right, they're all gone,
Yeah.
right?
All right, somewhere up there, you're gonna have to have a great big sign that says exit only.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to have a person there and there preventing people from coming back out towards Town Hall, and we're gonna make sure that they go that way.
Yeah.
That'll be the biggest challenge, to be able to monitor that. But we'll just have to do it. As people come out, they're gonna have to be said, yep, please go out the other way, and some good signage for coming out this way.
Would there be a need for contract deputies or other deputies there that day?
Oh, I intend to have the blue lights right out there like we did before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say 2 signboards, that one says overflow parking into that.
Well, we got 6 of those things. The only problem is we've got them all spread around town, so.
Right.
We may have to buy 2 more, but so be it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Stay tuned.
All right. Let's jump into 11A, discuss vote to approve the minutes of the April 9th meeting.
So moved.
Moved, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
I
Motion
wasn't
carried.
here.
Gordon,
So we are 3, 0, and 2. Gordon's
He went to the little boys' room.
3, 0, 2.
okay. Rick's action list, I think you've got enough things there, right?
Jeepers. Yeah.
Discussion items, anybody that want to add something to the next agenda, let me know.
Did you find somebody to run the gates at the lake?
Yes.
Okay. I am more than willing to
Dawn
be
is
trained just so that we've got somebody as a backup. I've done it a couple times, I've greased it, I've maintained it, but I am more than willing to
Well,
be the backup if something happens, so.
Dawn reminded us the other night, there is an ordinance, and it's supposed to have
Member of the Lake Association.
member of the Lake Association and a member of the Board of Selectmen. Okay, so, Chris,
Bressard.
Bressard. Yeah.
I don't know the levels
right,
at one point.
he's
I
gonna
did, but-
take care of that.
Yeah, but, I'm more than willing to,
So we'll pencil you in as the selectman. Okay? Anything else?
I don't know if you discussed it on the, when you were talking about the vote, because I had to go to the men's room. Has any thought been given to how we're gonna monitor the number of people that are on that floor? Because that's restricted, I think, to, when I was talking to
53, I
Todd.
think.
Huh?
53, I think.
I wanted to say it was 51, but,
The sign's in there, we know what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we gotta make sure we limit that number of people, you know, make sure we get them out after they vote, so they don't mill around and talk or whatever.
No, we don't allow them to chit-chat out.
She doesn't let you hang
Just
around.
stop voting.
And we're getting a couple more voting machines, right?
We're getting one more.
For the,
This November. I don't think we need them for June.
right, I would,
here's the other thought. That door will lock, so people coming out of that voting thing can walk through that building and go out, and just as soon as they lock that door. Not an entrance, but you could exit them out there if they're parked out in the parking lot and it's raining or.
You mean the very exterior on the rec side?
Yes.
Yes, we leave
Yeah.
that locked, they're locked behind them.
Yeah, so I mean, you can get the traffic flowing through there if need be.
Okay.
If it's heavy rain or.
all right,
But, my other comment is, where those dumpsters are now, if we gravelled that, you've got 20 more parking spots on the far end of that parking lot right now.
Well, remember, we are in the process, the selectmen tasked David and I, we gotta start
Yeah.
bringing that 50-foot right of it. This is gonna be road and some drainage to get that water out to
Yeah.
the back of the line. And then the actual parking, this is the extent of the picture, isn't it, David?
Yep.
Okay, remember up above and out behind, we've got land to the right of the garden, to the north of the garden fence, and behind the food pantry for 20 to 40 vehicles.
Yeah, 20 to 35 cars. Yeah, and those containers aren't there now anyway, that's an old picture.
So that's gonna look very different this
Yeah.
fall,
okay.
this summer.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Items needing signatures, minutes of the April 9th regular meeting, the warrant and the notice of election for RSU 57. Those have got to be signed,
I can't say.
unless there's anything else.
That's the minutes, right?
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Good night, Irene.